Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Expressive Tone TV, conveying your thoughts and feelings to the world. Guys, the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty has again drawn the attention of the world to Nigerians living in poverty. It is said that Nigeria is the capital of poverty. About 63% of Nigerians are multidimensionally poor, which is about 130 million people living in Nigeria are living in poverty. To cushion the effect of this poverty and the subsidy removal, which has made things to become more difficult and make more people poorer in the country, the federal government of Nigeria has launched Renewed Hope Constitutional Cash Transfer Program, which will transfer 25,000 to people living in poverty for 3 months. What they are saying here is that 25,000 naira will be transferred to individuals, Nigerians that are living in poverty. But what I don't know is how they are going to share this money. How are they going to make sure that the money will get to the people that are actually supposed to get the money? President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, represented by George Akume, Secretary to the State, launched the program. The World Bank is concerned about this disbursement, and they said it is going to be biometric and it will be efficient. We don't know, this our country Nigeria, it is well with us. Let it not look as if everything that they bring, that Nigerians are always condemning it, that people are always condemning it. If they actually want to give people 25,000 naira in a month for 3 months, I'm still of the opinion that they should create job, they should create wealth. I'm thinking that all this money that they are sharing here and there, if they put it into farming, it will help. I don't know, but it's not bad if that is what they want to do. It is not bad, but I think the problem we have is, how is this money actually going to get to the people that are supposed to actually get the money? That is the problem that we have. It is not that we are saying they should not help people or they should not give people money. I, for one, I don't support it all that. I still believe that if this money is used to, because the problem of Nigeria now is the problem of food. It's the problem of food. If it is used for mechanized farming, there will be more food for us. That is what I think. Oh, it will employ people. There will be food for us. Food will be cheaper, because that's the first solution to our problems. And I want to also seize this opportunity to tell us that these bros, them Yahoo boys, they are already using this to fraud people. They will send you a number and say that you should send your account number and all that, your details. At the time you do that, they will take all the money in your account. So let's be guided. They did not say that you will send your account number to receive the money. The government said they already have the account. They have our biometrics. So the money will be sent to the people that are poor. I don't know how they are going to judge them, but they know how they will disburse the money. So please don't fall the victim of sending your account number to any boy in anywhere, and at the end of the day you will be frauded. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not. Press the notification bell, like the video, let everybody be aware of what is happening. Watch videos, and I will see you in my next video. Cheers.
To mark the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty brings the focus on an estimated 133 million people classed by the National Bureau of Statistics as multidimensionally poor. Nigeria is often regarded as the world capital of poverty, with data of 71 million people living in extreme poverty. To mark the day, the federal government has launched the Renewed Hope Conditional Cash Transfer Program. The initiative aims to assist vulnerable Nigerians as part of broad poverty as alleviation efforts continues. Well, Rufai, finally the Conditional Cash Transfer Program has been launched yesterday. Your take on this?
So, I mean, this has been on ground for a while. It was at the tail end of the Buhari administration that we talked about it, and the Buhari administration said they were going to push it forward to this administration to be able to make their decision on it. And they made their decision on it. 75,000 naira, they've even expanded the scope for 3 months, 15 million. But my question is again, what are the modalities for the register? So at first, the minister, Betta, says verification is going on. She talked about using technology. Takes for instance, that man that is being given money, with coordinates, can I pinpoint his address? Are we also properly tying this conditional cash transfer to set goals and objectives? You see, the reason why things like Bolsa Familia succeeded, that became a big one, you know, for Brazil and Lula, was because most of the givings were tied to outcomes like education. And it was those same children in the early 2000s that their parents benefited from Bolsa Familia. They were the ones that, as at the last election, they had become medical doctors and the likes, and they were the ones that practically voted for Lula. You can see a chain of impact in that project. 25,000 naira for 3 months. After that, what happens? Are we tying it to outcomes? Because you see, it's not today. And what about the way we manage it? Is there any corruption? It's not today that we've had schemes like this. In the early 90s, we had a scheme called the People's Bank, run by Maria Shukenu of blessed memories. It was a derivative of the Grameen Bank of Mohammed Yunus. We all know how People's Bank went. We should just ensure that the money is given. The Minister of Finance said there's a trail to the money. We'd like to see the money trail. We'd like to see an audited account of all the people that have been given. We'd also like to be able to investigate the social circumstance of these people. And maybe going forward, tie it to some outcomes so that we can effectively watch these people and it's just as money just being given to them. And afterwards, nothing happens, because we need to be able to change the lives of people. We need to be able to bring people out of poverty. And it must be administered properly, because this money is not free. It's a loan and we'll pay back.
Yeah. All right.
What happens after the 3 months? Would the cost of a loaf of bread suddenly come down? Would the naira appreciate and stop yo-yoing? Would the objective conditions under which Nigerians exist improve? That's number one. Number two, by World Bank's own admission, the population of Nigerians that are living in multidimensional poverty is already over 100 million. So you target 61 million people, assuming that given the reality in Nigeria today, that the 25,000 naira even gets to those families, what difference would that make? The other point is that, yes, the president was quoted as having described this as renewed hope, conditional cash transfer. Renewed hope. Where is that renewed hope coming from? When they started this conditional cash transfer under the Buhari administration, the received wisdom was that this was a political gimmick. And we saw how this conditional cash transfer became problematic and was used for purely political reasons. I don't know if either of you has seen anybody that collected money from it. We also have poor people, around us, wherever you are in Nigeria. There are people who can benefit from conditional cash transfer, but we have not seen them. The other point is about the opaqueness of what is called the National Social Register that is used for the disbursement of these, grants to underprivileged Nigerians, as they are described, vulnerable That's the phrase they use, vulnerable households. Okay, how many vulnerable members of vulnerable households have you seen saying that they have collected money? However, the World Bank
as an immediate response to people facing difficulties based on some of the recent reforms and policy directions of this administration, one of which, of course, is the removal of fuel subsidy, rising inflation in the country, a number of factors which has plunged more people into poverty. Hence, I believe that that's 133 million people who are said to be living in multidimensional poverty might have increased by now. But let's go on to the issue with regards to this initiative that has been lauded in many quarters. We saw the country director of the World Bank talking about the fact that this is a great initiative and has worked in other countries based on how it is implemented and to ensure that the most vulnerable are the ones who actually benefit from this scheme. But beyond that, a few questions, and perhaps from the minister, his honorable minister, might be willing to respond to that. I recall earlier on when we had her on the show, we had asked about the lessons from the previous administration with regards to the National Social Register, if there was going to be some form of investigation probe. The end point of that was not necessarily to, get people heads rolling. That would be important. That is necessary. But also the importance of that was also to see lessons that could be learned in terms of how it was implemented, what the failures recorded were, some of the criticisms from that particular scheme, and how it can be avoided under this administration. We don't know if this was conducted. We don't know if there were any questions asked or investigations done, so that we do not repeat the mistakes of the previous administration and we're able to learn from there. So that's one question. The other thing is that we had also said, 133 multidimensionally poor Nigerians, 61 million households and, 15 million households and 61 million potential beneficiaries. If you look at 4, humans per household. How will you distill the 61 most vulnerable out of the 133 million? What is the process of checking who ought to benefit from this scheme, and out of the 133 million, who should not benefit? That's another metric we'd like to be explained. The Minister for Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, had talked about the fact that it was biometric, it was tech run. What is the process? So it's not enough. So we want transparency, especially because this particular scheme under the last administration was shrouded in a lot of controversy. So we need to answer these questions, because while we celebrate this, it will be a total waste of money if the most vulnerable do not have access to this money, or if the process by which they are identified is not transparent and fair. So a few questions there, and hopefully in the next coming days we'll get to get some answers in that regard and ensure that all the most vulnerable in Nigeria are responded to. I think it's also important to say finally that this is one of the conditions for the organized labor in terms of their 30-day ultimatum given on the 2nd of October to the government in order for them not to embark on another nationwide strike. Is this sufficient to satisfy organized labor in terms of immediate reactions? And also the agricultural sector, don't forget that said farmers would get some form of incentives to address the rising food inflation and what the president declared in July as a national